Alright, so we're rolling another video for the shifter community. I wanted to film this video before, but I have been so busy lately since I arrived to the US. I was just studying and practicing for my driving test. I had to do it again. I had the license in Spain for 20 years, but I had to redo everything now. So whatever. It's been a mess since I'm in the US. I had to do so much paperwork, but luckily, everything is going better now. So yeah, I wanted to do this video. By the way, I'm Arturo Engel, architect, photographer, and filmmaker from Los Angeles. I wanted to make this video talking about the new cinema camera announcement from Red. They just announced the Red Komodo-X. Red is it's a legendary cinema camera company at this point because they released I would say this first affordable cinema camera that camera operators and directors of photography can own. It was back in 2008, and the cameras that were used in films and commercials at the time were the Arri Alexa D21. I think it was the first digital Arri camera, and also other cameras like the Sony F35, but both had higher price points. The first Red one was just $25,000, and it was a big difference. And as I said, it was the first camera that people can afford. Also, it got so popular because it was the first 4K cinema camera. Other cameras, previous cameras, were full HD only. The founder of Red is called Gene Janer. I hope that I spell it correctly. And he was also the founder of the sunglass company brand called Oakley. I'm sure that you guys remember. It got sold to Ray-Ban, a joint of companies. I think it's called Luxottica or something. And with the money that they collected by selling the company, Jim and Jared Land, what's now the CEO of Red, they created the very first Red one, and it was a success. But for the time, early Red cameras were not so reliable, but the success of their model, there were people that like I don't remember the names. The director that did The Hobby, I don't remember whatever, but Jackson, yeah, Peter Jackson. There were very big directors that adopted Red from the beginning, but Red has never been like Arri. Arri is a way older company. They were doing film cameras for 100 years. They're not as popular in Hollywood, but they have their own niche. There are directors that are photographers that prefer Red. It's so popular on small productions or in music videos because they offer quite a bit of frame rate options and resolution. So it's more affordable than Arri, so that's why it's popular in some niches. They're also popular because the marketing, it got like a good reputation, not reputation, but their marketing is good. I like it because I mean, there's some people that are some fanboys. They follow the brand because Red. They don't even know what is good, what is bad, but they just buy Red because it's in an industry. It's a good camera in the industry, it's a well-known name. But what I like about their marketing strategy is like they operate like, for example, like Tesla. you rarely see big CEOs of companies talking directly in a transparent way, like for example Elon Musk does. And in the case of Red, it's the same. The CEO, Jared Land, is so close to the community. He films with the camera himself, and he's so involved and natural for the outside, and it's a thing that people, you know, and I also, you know, respect and I like, you know, because some big companies, you don't know what's behind, and they're so corporate focused, and they're not. Yeah, you feel that. Yeah, that's why some companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and I know that Red is not comparable to Tesla by any means, you know, but I like how Jared and Jim have operated along these years, and they have improved the product, and that's what I think that I wanna appreciate. There's always been controversy with Red because they filed a patent from the beginning that made them exclusive to use compressed video raw recording in the camera, not externally in camera. So it was so controversial because in a way it has stopped the evolution in the filmmaking industry. You know, they have had some companies have been in trouble with Red. I think they've gone to court. Some of them they have agree, you know, arrange something, or they have paid them a fee or something that they're open to negotiate with on a individual basis. But I think, you know, it's the same as when 3D printing, it was held by a patent until recent years, until 10 years ago or something. And when the patent expired, you know, the 3D printing the 3D printing evolution, right, skyrocketed. So I think if the patent that prevents other companies to implement compressed video raw recording inside of the cameras, if it ever expires, I think it's gonna be the same. You know, the different companies, big companies like Sony or Canon, they're gonna experiment with it, and they can do it. They can do it even better than Red potentially. But yeah, that's why people like Red. It has a really good internal codec. Their marketing is good. Their products are good, and their prices for what it is, their prices are good for what it is. Because again, other companies like Ari is better. You know, the color's better, the dynamic range is better, but they're bigger and more expensive. So I think they have a good niche of, you know, you can see a Red in an A-list movie, but you can also see in a music video because people can afford their cameras. And so I don't want to talk more about the Red history, but I think it was in 2021 or something, or 2020, they released the Red Komodo-X because there were a few directors like Michael Bay that does a ton of action filmmaking. They were asking to Jared Land, Red CEO, to release a camera that is small, to put it in vehicles, to use it as a, you know, a utilitarian camera, because you cannot fit certain cameras in certain scenarios, right? And you know, you can always fit a GoPro, something like that is so rugged, but you know, the quality is not there. So we also seen good examples of small cameras in recent movies, like in Top Gun. They use Sony also has something similar. The top of the line cameras is called the Venice 2, and they made an extension of the camera that you connect, because the Venice 2 is also a super high-end camera, but it's so big, like the Ariel X, but it has an option to connect an extension of the camera that is so small with a lens and everything, but you can connect it to the main camera. You can place the camera brain offset, and you can have the small unit that is the recording unit where it has the lens, you know, in tight spaces, or you know, and it was used in Top Gun on the cockpit or different airplanes. Yeah, that's the best representation that I can think of. But Red did a different approach. I think the Rialto, the extension for the Venice, was after, but Red did it before. Red is just a small Red. The Red cameras are not as big as our cameras, but they're pretty big, right? So the Komodo was smaller and smaller. So the Komodo was smaller. It's like 4 inch by 4 inch by like a small square, you know, so light and durable. You know, the construction of Red cameras is so good. I have the opportunity to film with them in different projects, even with the Komodo. And the good thing about the cameras is they're so rugged. And they released the Komodo again in 2 or 3 years ago, and they didn't expect it to be that popular. They thought it would be like a C, D cam, F cam to be production, or just a trash cam and a utilitarian camera. But people were started to buy the Red Komodos as A cam or B cams to their other Reds, or small filmmaker like us. You know, they have the Komodo as the main camera because, you know, it has the Red reputations, certain producers and people in the industry, you know, they know the brand and they want to be affiliated with. Some filmmakers want to be affiliated with the name of Red. So there's most of the people that end up buying Red Komodos were using it as other use that it was intended. So that's why now Red the other day introduced the Red Komodo-X to make it more like an A or B cam, not like a trash can or something like that. So they got, I don't want to bore you guys with it. I'm going to talk about what it means for us, if it's good or not for architectural filmmakers, but I'm just going to talk briefly. They made it slightly bigger. They added a V-mount battery at the rear to make it more, because people were adapting the Komodo battery system, Canon BP battery system to V-mount, so they made it natively micro V-mount. They added an USB-C port for monitoring with a cable, you know, with the app. That is so good. I also like this about the new Red cameras, that they're so well connected with phones and tablets wirelessly or on wire, and that's not a thing that every camera manufacturer has. And a few other changes, more frame rates, slightly better image quality, and the same with global shutter, blah blah. So good for Red. Another criticism that Red was having in previous years, in previous generations, is that the cameras itself couldn't do anything. You know, you had to add different modules, and it was adding up on the cost of the camera. And they fixed it with a Komodo right off the bat. They added non-proprietary media. They added CFast cards. They also you don't need a module just to put the memory card. You don't need a module just to have ports. Everything. The body was more. The body from the Red Komodo is more ready to go than in previous models. So the same with the Komodo-X, even better. So yeah, I think it's going to be another hit for Red. In fact, they sold the first units, the first batch, just in a few hours. The white ones, the special editions one. So yeah, good for them. I think it's going to be great. The features that are missing for me, I would like to have a Red one day, but I will want to see internal ND filters in the body. That's a thing that I'm not, you know, Other camera brands have done it years and years ago, even with mirrorless mounts like the Sonys and the Canons. And why not? You know, I would like to see it with Red. There's so many people that are requesting for it. I'm aware that you can throw an adapter these days with ND filters. There are different brands that do it. Even Red, they just introduced their own adapter, but it's not the same. When you want to shoot on a compact setup, you want to use native lenses, RF lenses in this case. It's better to have them internally. And also, for example, in my case, how I would like to, why I want ND filters that badly on a Red, because I could use the tilt shift adapters, and then if I have the internal NDs, I wouldn't have to put the NDs on the lens, because tilt shift adapters don't have ND filters. So yeah. So that said, Red cameras are so known in the industry. They're good for the price. They're good these days. They weren't as affordable before, but now, you know, they're well equipped. The price is good for what it is. You're gonna get a really nice image and everything. But so many people. So I want to say, I made this video because some people think, oh, I'm gonna buy a Red. I'm gonna have so much work. You know, my videos are gonna be better. And for me, honestly, that's not true. You know. If you're working in an environment as a DOP, director of photography, and you get hired, you know, on a constant basis by directors and other production members, and you know, they know that you're the Red guy, you know, they know that you know the tools, and you know, and you're on top of that, you know, more importantly, you're good. Yeah, maybe, you know, you're gonna get leads. I'm not saying you're not gonna get, but the most important thing in the end is your abilities, your creativity, the craft, you know, how good you are. No matter with what camera you use, you're gonna be good. So, and there's so many good cameras these days, you know. Another popular camera these days is Sony FX. You know, it's not a Red, it's a different beast, but you know, you don't have to have a Red to be like, to have jobs. That's for DOPs, you know, for DOPs, for camera operators that want to own a camera, or for DOPs that do small jobs, you know, and they also rely on producers, PR companies. They're familiar with Red. Okay, I can see, but yeah. But for us, for independent, you know, architecture photographers and filmmaking like us, that we work directly to clients. Yeah, we also work with producers, but it's good to have a Red. I wouldn't mind it again. They're good cameras, and one day maybe I'm gonna have one if they put internal ND filters. But you know, I wouldn't think that I wouldn't be obsessed, you know. For us and architecture filmmakers, I wouldn't obsess. If you like Red, go ahead and buy one. You're not gonna be disappointed. But I don't know. I just need the ND filters, because you know, people say, yeah, architecture photography is a slow process. It's not like real estate. You can get your time. You can put an ND filter on the front of the lens. It's not gonna be a big deal. And sure, that's what I do. No problem. But that's what I bought my first cinema camera. I had a few cinema cameras in the past, but that's what I bought them, because they had ND filters. In the end, it looks that our process is so slow, but especially in video and photography, you know, there are less things to worry about equipment-wise. But in photo, you need the speed, you know. You need to, some lenses, you know, you need to adapt different rings. Some lenses don't have a filter thread. You have to put you know, another thing on top, and sometimes the vignette and the color cast and blah blah. You know, if it's integrated in the body, it's the best. So I would like to see that. I wouldn't bother again I wouldn't be so worried for us, for architectural filmmakers, to to overthink if a red is good or not. If you like it, buy it. If you don't like another brand, just buy another brand, and you have to film with whatever you feel comfortable with. And image quality wise, a Red Komodo, the Red Raptor, you know, is better. Again, it's not an RF, but an RF is so expensive. But the Red Raptor is slightly better than mirrorless cameras in terms of image quality. It's better. I mean, the color is good. The consistency of the tonal range and the colors, you know, is there. You know, it's good. But the Red Komodo, on the other hand, that's the one that most of us could end owning, because I don't think most of us is gonna end up, you know, buying a Red Raptor, maybe renting, yeah, of course. But the Red Komodo-X, in terms of image quality, letting the raw aside, they're similar to you know, to high-end mirrorless cameras of these days. The difference was higher before. 5 years ago, RF was way better than $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 mirrorless camera. It was way before, but these days, you know, I don't see much difference. For example, with the latest Fuji cameras, the latest Sony cameras, Panasonic, you know, they're so good. So you should choose the camera that you want. You're not gonna go wrong if you buy a Red. You know, the KomodoX is an excellent camera. I would like to try one day. I forgot to elaborate in the image quality side. What we want as architectural filmmakers is to have a camera with good image quality, right? But one of the aspects that make it so useful for us is having a good dynamic range, or especially having a good highlight roll off, you know, like the transition to the white to be smooth, you know, especially for because when we film windows, you know, we want the view to, you know, not to be blown out as much as, you know, as possible. So that's what I'm saying. There are cameras that are equally capable in terms of dynamic range and highlight roll-off as the, you know, the Red Komodo-X. So, and another thing is there are cameras that are better gimbal cameras than the Red Komodo-X, because or the Red Komodo, because for stills photography, a good ISO performance is not an important thing, because you shoot with a tripod. You can select your lowest ISO, f11, f16, f8, and you're good to go. You can do a 1 second exposure, half a second, and it's fine. You're not gonna need to pump out the ISO unless you're gonna shoot something handheld. But in video, you need a bit better ISO performance that you would need for photo, because you're shooting at 24 or 25 frames per second. That it means that you have to have a shutter speed, a shutter speed of 50, 48 or 50. So 148 or 150, and then you're gonna limit the light that comes to the sensor, to the camera, right? And you're gonna need ISO. And what I say that the Komodo is not the perfect, you know, there are better cameras for gimbal, because that is for 24, but when you put 60 frames per second, for example, you need 120 shutter speed. Or when you shoot 120 frames per second, you need 240 shutter speed. And yeah, you can select it in the Komodo, no problem, but you're gonna need to compensate with ISO. And you know, the Komodo and the Komodo-X are not the best cameras for low light, you know, scenarios. You know, you have the Sonys, for example, they have the dual ISO. It means that you know, when shooting in log, you have different base sensitivities, and the second one is 10,000. It means that you can, with the Sony a7 III, the Sony FX III, you can film in, you know, 10,000 ISO, and you can still, you know, you have the pretty much the same quality as you have a base 640 ISO. And it will allow for more flexibility when, especially when shooting high frame rates. It's good, you know. I know that I personally don't like abusing of high ISO shooting. I don't like abusing of gimbals in my videos, but sometimes you need the gimbal, right? Especially us, that we don't, if we would have all the budget in the world, maybe I wouldn't use the gimbal as much, right? You can set up a dolly, and the problem with us is that we don't don't always light the scenes, you know. Sometimes we shoot big buildings, and it would be impossible to light, you know, the whole thing. And you have more flexibility in photo with the post-production with different layers and everything, right? So I think a camera with good ISO performance for video, even, you know, that we're gonna use 1 or 2 times for gimbal in an entire project, you know, when we don't have much light in interior spaces, for example, it's a plus, you know. Even not only full frame, but even good sensors like the Fuji X-H2S sensor is so good, even in 12,000 ISO, so it's better than the Komodo. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I hope you like these videos. Bye. And again, it's not like the Komodo is bad, you know. You can shoot at 6400 ISO, you can clean up, and then if you clean up the noise in post-production, it's fine, you know. But I'm just saying that it's not the best camera for that. But yeah, I mean, I think they did what they could, you know, because it has a global shutter and many other features. It have a pretty decent resolution of 6K resolution, so it's the best that it can be for the spec that it has, right? But you know, you have to see at different angles, and you have to evaluate cameras, you know. And the competition is fierce this day, and there are so many options. We should look. We should pay attention to what is out there and see what is best for us. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions about the Red Komodo-X, or if you want advice about buying a camera for architectural filmmaking, let me know what you think, guys think. I think I didn't miss anything, so thank you. I hope you like these videos. Please subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot. And let me know if you want to see more of these videos. And yeah, see you. One second, one thing.
Why should I'm sleeping like that? They would laugh.
I'm filming.
Say it.
No.
Say it. Say it. You know they would laugh.
Huh?
You know they would laugh.
What would I wanted to say? I forgot.